Welcome to hashtag WFH. I'm Samuel Burke. Today we're taking a special look at all the digital tools that people are using to adapt to their work from home environments. Whether it's graphic templates online or making phone calls from the cloud, many of these tools are just being used by companies for the first time, but they might be using them for much more time to come. It's all part of today's edition of hashtag WFH. Our first guest today is Chris Lowe. He's the head of Vibe at Canva, and this is a graphic design platform which allows users to create their own design assets and is well known for easy-to-use templates. And I'm curious to know how Chris thinks the forward-thinking model at Canva has extended to their at-home workplace. So, Chris, take me back to the very beginning when lockdowns were first announced. How did this affect your team, knowing that you couldn't be in offices? And was this something new, or was work from home already a part of your game plan?
We always believed that the wider community's well-being was part of Canva's core values, and that's made the decision fairly clear. I have to say, though, those few hours when we first realised that we were going to be in lockdown were really tough. But overall, our position is quite fortunate, and we've had the technology that allows our teams to connect remotely, and it's made it much easier.
Well, that's what I'm really interested in, because now we've gone in and out of lockdown over months. And what tools and what technologies have you found to be the most useful to keep the flow going with your teams?
I think the biggest thing I have to say is the Canva product itself. It's really allowed us to collaborate online remotely through the design tool. And these were really important opportunities for one another to connect to the team, our values and mission. But being online didn't stop us. We had a lot of fun dressing up with the assistance of really fun backgrounds, and we basically kept everything going as it was with a new way of working.
And when you look at how Canva clients are actually using the platform, what's changed since the pandemic and since people have been working at home? And what templates do you see are being used more suddenly?
Recent months have shown us that the future of work will be far more collaborative and online. And our design community is now made up of 40 million monthly active users from 190 countries. And they're producing about 80 designs a second, which I find pretty mind-blowing. The need for design is now more universal than ever, from students creating videos to job seekers designing resumes. We've seen a huge growth across our education platform, as well as students and teachers from around the world collaborate from home.
And what would you say that you've learned as a leader throughout the pandemic that might lend itself to other tech and business startups?
I think staying focused on the people in the business. We're unable to function without them. Their safety and well-being is a huge priority for us, and it's a constant journey of listening, learning, adapting, and recreating. It's also been the catalyst for embracing new technology. So being adaptive and looking for new collaboration tools to continue to increase productivity while people are physically distanced from one another.
Well, that's what we've heard from some of the most successful companies who've really found a path through the pandemic, that it's embracing those new technologies, but seeing how you can ride that wave through the pandemic. Chris Lowe, head of Vibe for Canva, thank you very much for your time, and we hope you and your team have continued safety. Well, coming up, we'll be speaking with two other innovative companies whose digital tools are allowing people to make phone calls from the cloud and using artificial intelligence to transcribe documents. That's coming up on hashtag WFH. Welcome back to hashtag WFH. Our next guest is Jeffrey Kaufman. He's the CEO and founder of Trint. This is a platform that uses artificial intelligence to transcribe what people are saying in audio or video files. Jeffrey's an award-winning journalist who knows all too well the frustrations of having to transcribe long files. Jeffrey, thanks so much for joining us. Walk us through how the Trint AI system works and how it compares to some of your competitors out there on the market.
So this really comes out of my 30-year career as a broadcast journalist with American and Canadian network TV. One of the things that I disliked most about being a reporter was having to transcribe conversations like this so that I could write my stories to find the quote or the soundbite. I think people are probably really familiar with that routine. And the solution that we came up with, and we were really the first to do this, was to marry a text editor like Word with an audio video player and take that machine generated transcript, glue it to the source audio word for word so you could search it, verify it, correct it if necessary, and very quickly have transcripts that you could trust. And what separates us from competitors is that we have a complete enterprise solution that deploys across enterprises, that allows people to collaborate, that allows people that engages people with a customer success program, allows companies to monitor usage, and really importantly, we have military-grade data security protection. That's something that customers need to know that they have. They need to know that we have done everything that is humanly possible to ensure that their data is protected.
I'm interested, what's happening with your office space? You had to pull out your London teams and put them at home. So what's going on at your offices now?
We got rid of our offices because we were able to, but we found that there was a group of employees who just don't want to work at home. They have small children, they're isolated and live alone, or they're just very social people. And so we got what we call a swing off, a small office in a kind of co-working space, really, really beautiful space. That traditionally holds 18 because of social distancing and has 14 desks, and people can come and go. We liked that particular building because it had 2 outdoor spaces, so people could have outdoor meetings and feel a little bit more relaxed. But I think this idea that remote is the future is really misguided. It isn't. I think flexible working is the future. A couple of days a week in the office is where we'll end up when all of this passes. I think, Samuel, the other thing that people are losing in this is that part of the joy of work is community. I don't think all of those people are going to have better quality of lives if they sit at home at the end of their beds and on their laptops every day. And I don't think that's what people want.
You've seen a surge in usage since work from home started, and as a result, you're on a hiring binge. So Jeff, I'm really curious, how do you onboard people when you don't have a full-fledged office, when people can't meet in person, at least in the first weeks or even maybe months when they join the company? How do you make them a part of the team then?
I think the simplest answer is over-communicate. Don't put up walls. Make it easy for new starters to ask questions, feel part of the community. We send them a welcome pack with not just with their laptop, but with company swag, a T-shirt, and other and brand book and things like that. We want them to feel like this is a special day. We heavily program them in their first week. One of the things that we've done very successfully is we start them in clusters, and it creates, one, an efficiency of time, but 2, a sense that you're not on your own, and it's not, for people who are particularly younger people beginning their career, it's not as intimidating. And what we've encouraged is for that cluster to have follow-up coffees and virtual coffees and lunches so they can talk to each other and stay connected. And I think this idea that your first week is not left with you just staring at your computer and wondering what to do is really, really important. And we have seen real challenges for new starters of loneliness and sort of mental health concerns. And you just have to be incredibly sensitive. I think that the role of an employer has evolved, and mental health has to be part of what your concerns, part of what you look at when you consider these things in a way that really goes beyond what our expectations as employers used to be.
Really insightful. Jeffrey Kaufman, founder and CEO of Trint, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Samuel. A pleasure.
Well, our next guest is the founder and CEO of Dialpad. This is software which allows companies from small to large to move their phone calls onto a digital platform. It seems no matter how far we advance with technology, phone calls and phone numbers are still an integral part of so many industries. Craig Walker, thanks so much for joining us on #WFH. I want to just take a step back to when the pandemic first hit. I want to know what your initial reactions were. Were you thinking of course, about how it was affecting people, but in business terms, what it would mean for your business with so many people moving home and what you were doing behind the scenes for your own company?
What the pandemic did, it really forced every company on the planet at the same time to scramble and figure out how to keep their business running. So that played really, really well into the Dialpad mindset, because we were always built for a future of work where the location really didn't matter. Anywhere that you had internet connectivity, Dialpad just works. So we knew over the next 10 years that every business was going to move to the cloud and adopt these types of modern tools, just because there's so much more flexibility and productivity you get from them. And other things that, that are a little unique to Dialpad, like we do on every single call, we will give you the ability to get that call transcribed and get notes of that call and get a summary of, hey, here are the action items and here's what I was supposed to follow up with on that call. And really trying to drive more insights and intelligence out of the conversations you're having. And I think that becomes more and more important as well, as people are scrambling through their busy day, kids are running and coming and going. To be able to just have notes of every conversation or meeting is actually super helpful for you to be more productive from your home.
It's really interesting because, of course, everything's focused on video conferencing, but you over and over again in multiple companies have focused on phone calls and phone numbers. So Why are phone numbers still so relevant to so many industries when we have so much technology that has nothing to do with a phone number?
Yeah, so the phone number is the ultimate, unique identifier that works in every location on the planet. Every country in the world has agreed that this is how the phone networks are going to work. And if you have a phone number and you have someone else's phone number, you can reach them anywhere on the planet. It's like the lowest common denominator social network that every single human being is on. So that alone means it's never really going to go away. It's the perfect identifier.
And I have to say, even though you're a digital platform, you're reaching out to people on phone numbers. And I think that one thing that work from home and also school from home has showed is that there is still a huge divide in so many places, from Mexico to the Philippines, where internet connectivity can be iffy at times. And so a phone number is somebody's only alternative many times to do business and education. Craig Walker, founder and CEO of Dialpad, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What we've clearly seen today is that as we work from home, we're all looking for tools to make us more efficient. But as we return to our workplaces and continue to work from home, these are tools that will continue to be used in the post-COVID world that we're all dreaming of. For now, the team and I wish you and your loved ones continued health and safety, and we'll see you on the next edition of #WFH.